Hello and welcome to this AE Basics tutorial on easing keyframes. In the last tutorial we looked at creating animation by making keyframes. So I'm going to do this again, just a demonstration. We had this car, for instance. We can take the car off the screen and hit P for position. And then with our current time indicator or playhead at the beginning of our composition, we can hit the stopwatch for position. A keyframe is created. We can then either drag it to the end or hit the end key on our keyboard and then take hold of our car and drag it across the screen. And as I'm dragging it, I'm now going to hit the shift key to constrain its movement so that it stays along one line. Often with After Effects you need to start dragging things first before you hit the shift key. It seems to work sometimes that if you hit the shift key first you then have problems selecting. So drag first, hit the shift key, constrain its movement and pull it all the way across the other side. Let go and you see there's another keyframe created. So we got a keyframe at the beginning and a keyframe at the end. I'm going to hit home on my keyboard to get to the beginning of my timeline, and then I'm going to hit my spacebar to preview my work. We've created animation, and it's a very standard animation with the car going straight through the scene at a constant speed. This is equivalent of taking a snapshot of a car travelling along a road in a normal way. The car starts out of sight, comes past at a standard speed, stays at that speed pretty much, and goes off the other side. Now that's great for something that's passing through, but it certainly isn't real world for something that starts on screen and finishes on screen. So let's just move these 2 points to make them start on screen and finish on screen. So you can actually click hold of them and then pull it across. If you hold the shift key still, you'll actually manage to constrain the movement. So pull that one in, again click on the square over this side, pull it across, hold the shift key to constrain movement. And so now our starting and ending keyframes are actually on screen. I'm going to hit the home key again. I'm going to hit play by hitting my spacebar, and it starts at a constant speed, carries on going at a constant speed, and stops at a constant speed. Now that's not real world. In real world all items have weight, such that if this was a real car it would need to accelerate because it has weight. It goes from a standing start and it gets faster and faster until it hits full speed, and then when it wanted to stop it would have to anticipate the stop. The driver would have to put his foot on the brake and the car would slow down, decelerate and come to a stop. Now that is real world, where items have real weight. In digital animation nothing has weight because they're all digital assets, so we have to simulate weight to make things look like they are real world. And this is often the difference between an amateurish animation and a professional looking animation. An amateurish animation won't have taken into account the need for weight, whereas a professional would have realized that we need to simulate weight and added it into the animation. So we're going to look at how we can simulate weight, how we can make things look realistic through the use of a hidden keyframe menu that can help us to change our keyframes. And this process is called easing. Now what we want to start off with is this car to accelerate away from this point, go faster in the middle and then slow down at the end of this point. However, there are two constants. Firstly, the animation distance between point A and point B is not going to change, and the other constant is our timeline, which is 5 seconds long. The animation must take place within 5 seconds. So that means that if we want this to animate away slowly and get quicker and quicker, and we still have to complete this distance within 5 seconds, the speed of this car is going to change, in that it is going to have to go quicker at the end of the animation to still have completed it within 5 seconds. Okay, so how do we find this keyframe assistant? Well, if you have the keyframe selected, you can either go to Animation and then Keyframe Assistant, and we can find them there. Alternatively, you can click on the actual item itself and right click on the keyframe and find Keyframe Assistant and find them there. But the way that I tend to do it is actually right click on the keyframe itself. So I'm going to right click on this keyframe and go to Keyframe Assistant, and then we have three options. We have Easy Ease, Easy Ease In, and Easy Ease Out. Now the way that I think about this tends to be as if there is a train in a station. The train needs to start, it needs to go out from the station, accelerate away. It's going out from the station and we're going out from the keyframe. And when a train pulls into a station, it decelerates and comes to a stop. And so we're going to use Ease In to decelerate and come to a stop, because we're going to ease into the keyframe as a train comes into the station. And when we pull away, we're going to easy ease out of the keyframe as the train pulls out of the station as it pulls away. So this first keyframe must be easy ease out because the car is going to go out of the keyframe. Click on easy ease out and notice at once that the keyframe has changed. We can see at the other end that we've still got a diamond, but here we have a keyframe indicating that it's going from 0 outwards. So it's going from slow to full speed, and that's the indication of this keyframe. Now if I hit the spacebar and play, you'll see that the car will start slowly and get quicker, and yet the whole animation will happen within the full 5 seconds. So hitting spacebar, a slow start, and slightly faster towards the end, but of course we haven't done the last keyframe, so it finishes at full speed. What we want to do now is we want to change this keyframe at the end so that the car will decelerate into the keyframe. So it's coming out of this keyframe and then going quickly in the middle and then decelerate into this keyframe at the end. So we can just right click on the keyframe, keyframe assistant, easy ease in. And you'll notice again that the keyframe has started showing from full speed down to nothing. So we're going over this side from nothing up to full speed, with full speed in the middle, and then we're going from full speed down to nothing, showing us that some kind of animation of the keyframe is taking place. Now let's go back to the beginning and hit the spacebar. We pull away slowly, we go quicker in the middle, and we decelerate into the keyframe. And we've created the illusion of weight. The car has got weight as it accelerates away and weight as it comes into the keyframe. Now in After Effects, not only can we have these easy ease in and easy ease out keyframes, we can actually change the speed and the amount of acceleration and deceleration by adjusting how these keyframes operate, because we've got tremendous flexibility in After Effects. And the ability to be able to alter or edit these keyframes is found in the graph editor. Now I'm not going to go into all the huge amounts of detail there are in the graph editor, merely going to show you that select the layer and select the actual property we're looking at, which in this case is position, and then you need to go to this icon here which says graph editor. Click on the graph editor and it opens up in our timeline, and I'm now going to raise up my timeline so we can see more of it, and we can see that what we have here is a gentle curve up and a gentle curve down, showing us that we're accelerating slowly away to full speed and then decelerating slowly down here. But if I was to click on one of these keyframes, notice that I suddenly get these handles. Now these handles are known as Bezier handles, and they allow us to be able to change how the keyframes work. So say I want this car to accelerate far slower at the beginning. Now notice at this side it shows us here that we've got pixels per second. So the fastest that it's going, we can see this is the 150 pixel line, and if we hover over the line here, we can see it's going 184.66 pixels per second, right at its fastest point. But if we get hold of this Bezier handle and start to pull it sideways, we're actually saying to the animation, I want you to start to accelerate far, far slower as you pull away. And as you let go, it redraws the graph. You don't need to adjust it. There you go, redraws it. You can see that it's going very, very slowly, and then right at its top speed here, we're now at 320.77 pixels per second. So when we hit the spacebar, we'll see that it's going to accelerate very slowly over time, but by the time it gets to 3 3/4 seconds, it's going to be going very quickly for a very fast deceleration thereafter. So let's go back to the beginning, hit spacebar and see what it looks like. A very slow acceleration, zoom through the middle, and then very quick deceleration. So we have changed how the animation works, and not only that, we've got the Bezier handle here, and I can pull the Bezier handle across from the other side and let go. And so now we're saying accelerate slowly and brake slowly. The whole thing still has to happen in 5 seconds, so if we're saying be very slow here and be very slow here, obviously it needs to be very quick in the middle, and you can see right at the top here 793.88 pixels per second. So it's going to be whizzing across in the middle, but very slow at the beginning and at the end. Let's just look at that. Slowly to pull away, zoom in the middle, slowly to finish. So that's how we can have control of our keyframes. I'm going to turn off the graph editor and get back to our timeline. So that's how we can do easy ease out and easy ease in to give the illusion of weight. But there is one other called easy ease, and to show you that I'm going to go to another composition. What I've got here is a bee that buzzes around You can see the motion path that it takes and zooms through. But all of these keyframes are linear keyframes. And if I show you the graph editor for that and pull it up, you'll see that every time it hits a keyframe there is a sudden change in speed. It happens instantly. Sudden change in speed. And particularly here you can see step change, step change, step change. This is not real world animation. Let's just hit the home key and then hit the spacebar to play, and the speed is anything but constant and any changes are instantaneous. But what we can do is we can easy ease all of these keyframes so that the changes look a lot more normal. So we can select all these keyframes simply by drawing around them, and then we can actually change the keyframe type down here. Select the keyframes here and then go to the keyframe assistant and you can choose easy ease. Alternatively, you can select the keyframes in the timeline. Also make sure that they're all selected. I've actually managed to miss one here, so I'm just going to hit the word position, and by hitting the word position they're all selected, and I can right click on any one of them, keyframe assistant, and hit easy ease F9. Now let me show you the change in the graph editor. Click on the graph editor, look, curves. And curves are the way everything moves in nature. Everything moves in curves. Remember the acceleration, deceleration we saw in the car? Now all of those keyframes throughout my animation have been eased. It might not look an awful lot better to you because it is a very rough animation, but certainly the Bumblebee is going to accelerate and change its speed slowly and properly from keyframe to keyframe, as opposed to sudden crazy speed changes which wouldn't represent the real world. So I'll hit home, hit my space bar. It's just a little bit better. It's just an example. So if you create a whole bunch of keyframes for your animation, remember that you can change them all by clicking on the name of the thing that you want to change. So I'm clicking on position here, and then right click on any one of them and change them. Keyframe assistant, easy ease. Or alternatively you can draw a marquee, just click and drag around the selection that you want to change. And incidentally, if you want to change them back to linear keyframes because you've made a mistake, hold the control key on a PC, the command key on a Mac, and click on the keyframes and you will change them back. And in fact, if you click again, they'll toggle to another type of keyframe, but we're not going to go there now. Okay, so that is your introduction to easing. Easing is used throughout the industry all the time to make animations look more lifelike, and I would recommend that you start to use easing straight away. Work out how it works, look at how it changes your animation, and how much more professional things can look, particularly when you give them weight, so that they look like they act in nature and aren't just standard digital animations. Well, I hope you found this tutorial useful. My name's Andrew Davis and thank you for watching.